Guys, it's Jen, and today I wanted to share with you a very important video in terms of makeup. I am talking all about concealers. As you can see, I'm not wearing anything on my skin today. I just have on some eye makeup, and that's about it because I'm very spotty lately, so I thought it was the perfect opportunity to share with you the concealers that I think are my favorites, from low end to high end, everything in between. So I wanted to share with you what I use to cover up my spots, redness, and under eye circles. If you want to see how it's done, then keep watching. So I'm going to start off doing a light layer of coverage on my face. Today I'm using the Jouer Matte Moisture Tint. It's not like super crazy high coverage. I just like using this for every day. So you should still be able to see some spots coming through even after I do one layer of this. Now that I've got that on my face, you can see there's quite a bit of difference from wearing nothing to having the tinted moisture on my face, but you should still be able to see a couple of little imperfections here and there, maybe not as much on camera, but definitely in person. So we're going to start targeting those. So I'm gonna start off with just this half of my face using my favorite concealers that I use every single day. They're kind of mid-tier range, so I'm using Makeup Forever Full Cover and Tarte Maracuja Creaseless Concealer. The reason I have two concealers is because I use them for different things. I prefer an oil-free, long-wearing, drier formula for my hyperpigmentation spots, and then I use a different one that's a little more hydrating for my under eyes. And I don't really want to use the hydrating one on my zits because I don't want to cause any further acne problems. So that's why I have two different ones. If you have a little bit tricky skin like I do, then I definitely recommend this process. Also, this Tarte one is really great for those of you who have really dry under eyes, and if you tend to have eyes that have a lot of creasing underneath here once you have the concealer on. It just does a really great job, and these are my favorites. So I'm going to start off with the full cover. I like to squeeze just a little bit on the back of my hand. I'm using my hand as a little palette. So now that it has a little dollop, I take clean hands and I just kind of like pat another little section into my skin so that I have a little dot on my fingertip like that. And then I just go around to certain areas of my face. Like this one right here is quite a large spot, and I just press that into my skin. I also have this mega one down here. As you can see, like the name, it is really full coverage, which is why I love it so much. And it's also why I can get away with using a tinted moisturizer and still have it look like my skin, but get that full coverage. So I mentioned this in my basic foundation video, but what I like to do is go to all of the spots that are standing out the most and get those out of the way. So just take a look at your entire face, see what's sticking out the most, and get that first. You'll find that once you start attacking the most obvious spots, the ones that are kind of like medium and less obvious start to come to the surface and just kind of appear. So I would say go over one more round after you've got the main ones, and then we'll move on. I'm also going to go in around this redness right around my nose. And if there's darkness around your lip area around here, then you might want to attack that as well. I do want to mention one thing. It was a really old school notion to have a concealer underneath your foundation and actually use it first and have the concealer be one shade lighter than your skin tone to kind of counteract any darkness. But that's kind of an antiquated idea, and I've found in my personal experience it just works really well to get a very high coverage concealer in your actual skin tone, which also gives you the option of, if you don't want to wear any foundation in the first place, you can just spot conceal and be on your way. Now for under eye concealer, you actually want to get one that's a shade a little bit different than your skin tone. I like to go for something that's slightly lighter than my skin, so it has a brightening effect right here. And it's also not a bad idea to get something that's slightly salmon colored, because that'll help counteract any blue or purple in your under eye circles. So this one is just like slightly pinky beige color on me. And again, I'm just using my hands, and I'm going to tap this starting at this inner corner a few times in this half moon shape. You want to be really careful to be very delicate here. Don't press too hard. Try not to drag your eyes because you don't want to cause any extra wrinkling. Just really gently use, I like using my middle finger here, and just tap, tap, tap until it's all blended in. And for under eye concealer, I find it especially important not to necessarily powder the entire face, but to powder right underneath there to keep it from creasing. So I'm just taking a really fluffy eyeshadow brush with some powder, and I'm going to press this into my skin. I don't want to drag this too much because I don't want to move the concealer around, so pressing is your best option. And make sure you get right into where any wrinkles are so they don't stand out later on. Now for this half of my face, I wanted to do something for those of you who want a little more options than just my two little favorites there. So I have one that is super high-end and super low-end. I've got the Maybelline Fit Me Concealer. I'm using the shade 20 Sand. I actually tried this recently and I really like it, and the great thing about it is you can use it for both spot concealing and for your under eyes. And then I'm also going to talk a little bit about Clé de Peau, which I'm sure some of you guys have heard about. I'll put that aside for a second. So this one's nice because it's very liquidy. It has this doe foot applicator, so it's actually really easy to apply. Instead of using my fingers, I'm just going to spot this here and there, and then use my fingers to tap and blend this in. I really like using my fingers to tap it because I feel like it diffuses the concealer versus just wiping it away or having it move around too much. Also, I feel like it preserves your skin texture a little bit more, which is gonna make your makeup look a lot more natural in the long run. And finally, this is the very famed and talked about Clé de Peau concealer. I'm using the shade Ochre, which is a great match for my skin on my face. If I'm doing under eyes, I usually tend to go with the shade Beige. These are a lot more pricey. A lot of my friends really swear by it, especially if they don't wear a ton of makeup. They just use this instead of foundation to kind of conceal whatever they need on their face and just go. However, I do find it's a little bit drier, so it'll work best for people who are normal to oily complexion. I wouldn't really recommend it if your skin is dry. Otherwise, it's really full coverage. It's nice and easy since it's in a stick, and it can kind of do it all. So that's another option if you want a really luxurious product that is kind of a do-it-all-in-one-step product. So for this, I like to warm it up on my fingertip. Again, you should always have clean fingers when you're doing this. And then I'm just going to press this into my skin. You could apply it straight from the stick, but I find this gives me a lot more control. And it kind of warms up the product, so it goes on a lot more smoother. Now I'm just going to set my face with a quick dusting of powder. Again, I'm just going to pat this into my skin so that everything we did earlier isn't going to get moved around. So this is my final face. The end result should look pretty natural, but still have all of the things covered that you want, which comes a lot from the concealer versus foundation, which is a little secret between you and me. I don't like the look of super heavy foundation, so that's why I love concealer so much. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial so you can get a similar look. If you have a best concealer tip or just have a favorite concealer in general, let me know that down in the comments so I can try more concealers too. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Give me a thumbs up if you did, and I will talk to you guys in my next video. Bye! Hey guys, it's Jen, and today I wanted to share with you a makeup for newbies makeup tutorial. So nothing in here is too extravagant, and I wanted to share with you guys how I remove my makeup, especially when I'm wearing a lot of really intense makeup that's waterproof.